Transportation Buttigieg here. What a great opportunity. We just spent the last, hour and a half showing him around our port, myself and the Assembly leadership. Again, a great opportunity. We explained to him the importance of this port and quite frankly, the threat that this port is facing. And this port, as we all know and as the Secretary knows, feeds 90% of the people of this state. And it's in great structural jeopardy right now. He understands that. His staff, his team understands that, and we've made some relationships here, which we think will lead to federal help, getting this port on track, getting it built, getting it restored, and getting us on to food security. So, with that, I'd just like to, at this time, introduce the Secretary, Secretary Buttigieg.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, sir.
Well, thanks very much for the warm welcome, and I want to thank and acknowledge everybody, not just who's part of making this visit possible, but for the extraordinary day-to-day work that goes on here to make sure that the people of Alaska and this region are well served. Appreciate the mayor and his team for their help with the visit. I also want to acknowledge the Teamsters, who I know are too busy right now working on the essential work going on here, to be joining us for this, but who we count on every day. And I want to acknowledge Senator Murkowski, Senator Sullivan, who we had a great day with yesterday, and Representative Mary Peltola, who I've been in touch with about this trip. And before speaking to what we see all around us, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that all of our thoughts are with the people of Maui right now, who are dealing with the impact of the deadliest U.S. wildfire in a century. We know that around 100 people are known so far to have lost their lives, with reason to believe that number may continue to climb. FEMA, the National Guard, and any number of federal, state, and local agencies are doing everything that they can to assist with rescue and recovery efforts, and we're going to continue supporting the people of Maui for the long run. I've been in touch with Senator Schatz, Senator Hirono, and Governor Green about the outlook for long-term infrastructure needs that will emerge once the search and rescue and recovery phase has been completed. Here in Alaska, of course, people are no stranger to extreme events and extreme weather either. And in recent weeks, it feels like we've been seeing around the country an almost endless string of what we used to think of as once in a lifetime or once in a century climate-related disasters across the lower 48. And we know that across the country we have got to do more to prepare for and to prevent disasters and to handle the changes that we know are already underway and coming our way even more quickly. We also know that American communities, states, families, and businesses have always been shaped by their relationship to transportation infrastructure. And Anchorage, of course, as even its very name indicates, is no exception to that. People settle and communities thrive in places that have the right kind of transportation systems to allow them to grow. And that's why Anchorage became the most populous city in America's largest state. Anchorage owes its success to the Alaska Railroad, which allowed communities to flourish in America's last frontier. It owes its success to Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport and Merrill Field and the connections that they provide for passengers, for cargo shippers, and of course for national defense. And it owes its success to the Port of Alaska. It is difficult to overstate the importance of this place, not just to Anchorage, but to Alaska and to the entire country. I had a sense of that coming in, but there's nothing like being able to see it for yourself and hearing from port leadership and community leadership on exactly how all of that adds up together. The thought that 90% of Alaskans depend on food, on cars, on resources that pass through this port, that this port alone handles nearly 3/4 of the state's inbound cargo and gets things to military bases, rural Native Alaskan villages, and every place in between, demonstrates the very meaning of critical and essential infrastructure. And yet, for all of its importance, the infrastructure that this port depends on is very much in urgent need of updating. The original terminals were constructed before many of us were born, and after the better part of a century, as we've seen firsthand in today's visit, their very foundations are beginning to corrode and come apart. Thankfully, the leaders here have recognized that, have been working methodically and urgently to modernize this port and to make sure that it lasts for generations to come. And that's one of the reasons why we at the DOT last fall were proud to do our part by awarding this port $68.7 million through our Port Infrastructure Development Program to help advance that effort. That investment and the larger Port of Alaska modernization program that's underway will replace the aging docks with new ones that can last for generations. And it's going to mean that the port will better be able to continue moving consumer goods to the places where they are needed most, ensuring food security for Alaskans. It's going to mean the ability to continue supporting critical national defense infrastructure, including the military bases, providing the sound effects for this event. It's going to improve safety and operational efficiency while accommodating larger and modern ships. And it's going to make this port more resilient in the face of extreme weather and the seismic threat like the 1964 earthquake that destroyed so much other critical infrastructure in the region, and the 2018 earthquake that I know was a wake-up call for so many about how much is on the line. In other words, the investments that we make in this port today will pay off for the American people and certainly for the people of Alaska. Now, you ought to know that that $68 million award was the single largest award we made through this program last year. And it came by way of President Biden's work on getting this infrastructure law through. This is a vision that too often has come and gone in Washington. You have Infrastructure Week, there's big promises, nothing happens. This time is different. President Biden was determined to pass an infrastructure law in his first year, and I should add that this was done on a bipartisan basis, with a very important role played by Senator Murkowski and Senator Sullivan, and a number of Republicans who crossed party lines to join the president and worked with Democrats to get this done because it was the right thing for the American people. And I should also mention this port is just one example of how that infrastructure law is improving transportation across Alaska. I'll give you just a handful of examples. In July, we awarded Alaska nearly $286 million for new passenger ferries, upgraded docks, and improvements to the Alaska Marine Highway System that's stretching 3,500 miles, serving dozens of communities, many of them in areas where ferries are the only way to cover a long distance. In October, along with that grant we made here at the Port of Alaska, we also funded projects that will upgrade Prince William Sound's ferry terminals, repair the port of Adak in a remote Alaskan village, and improve a harbor in the Aleutian Islands. We funded efforts to improve road safety in the native village of Noatuk, hope I said that right, restore a harbor in Cordova, and make roads and bridges more resilient in the face of climate change and the damage from Typhoon Merbok. And again, that's just a fraction of the projects that we have funded right here in the state of Alaska, with over $5 billion coming to Alaska just on the formula side alone through this infrastructure package. This is going to give us better, safer, more economical, cleaner, and more equitable infrastructure for the future. And importantly, while we're at it, creating good paying jobs for Americans in the process. We know that Anchorage is a living and a dramatic example of the fundamental truth that we've always recognized, which is when we build the right kind of infrastructure, people, communities, and civilizations are able to thrive. And that's why we're so glad to be able to be here, see it for ourselves, and certainly we'll be headed back to Washington with a lot of follow-ups, notes, and we would be surprised if we did not see a number of further requests, project plans, ideas, and visions coming in from Alaska. I think we're going to do a couple of questions from the podium, is that right? Okay, so my colleague Alexandra will quarterback that process.
Hi, I'm Liz Ruskin with Alaska Public Media. There's been a lot of investment here in the port that has not panned out in years past. How do we know that this one is, money well spent?
Well, we're taking a forward-looking approach that really focuses on making sure we have thought through all of the different moving pieces that go into delivering infrastructure projects. Now, a lot of that depends on the project sponsor. But we also have measures on our end to make sure there's the right kind of accountability for those federal taxpayer dollars. And one other thing I would note that is necessary for any project to succeed is a level of alignment between different players who I know have different constituencies, often with jostling priorities, but whose ability to form a common vision makes us as a federal agency easier to partner with. So we know expectations are high. We know that there will be rigorous process to make sure that any federal dollars spent here are spent well. And we certainly see with the quick pace of the work that's underway right now, a determination not just to see big dollar numbers, but to see big results and to see those results delivered quickly. Well, you know, certainly we've made clear our overall focus areas. Our top priority is always safety, and it's why we funded everything from crosswalk improvements to seismic resilience. We also care a lot about climate, both preparing for what's coming our way and preventing it from getting any worse. We're looking a lot at equity and making sure that whether we're talking about racial equity, whether we're talking about rural and remote areas, whether we're talking about Native communities getting their fair share, that we have an equitable approach going forward. But one of the reasons I'm talking in those broad strokes is that we're also very deliberate that the projects and the ideas aren't going to come from Washington. It's that more of the funding should. We don't expect to sit in the DOT headquarters building and draw up any plans or think up any projects. Those visions come from the communities, they come from the states, they come from the tribes, they come from the transit agencies, and they come to us. And even with this historic funding, we're only able to fund a fraction of the great ideas that come our way. But under President Biden's leadership and bipartisan support, we have more ability to say yes to more great projects, more funding to work with than at any point in my lifetime. And we're still just at the outset of the infrastructure decade that's going to open up. So I fully expect to see more projects, including ones that have that resiliency component like I heard so much about today from the mayor and from the deputy director here at the port, recognizing that what you deal with, not just in terms of extreme events like the threat of an earthquake, but just the everyday battle with the elements. I don't think that iron-eating microbes are a consideration in most places that we do infrastructure projects, 30-foot tides or glacial silt deposits. But that's the reality here, and this is every bit as much a part of the United States as any place closer to Washington, which is exactly why we're here. All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I have the opportunity to close, and I'll be a little bit personal. When you serve in public office, it's not just you who sacrifices, it's your family. So I want to say to Chasen and to Gus and Penelope, thank you for giving your time to us first. Thank you for visiting Alaska. It's hard for people in Washington to understand how different it is here, the reality that we face every day. Our investment in this project started after a catastrophe of 20 to 25 years ago. And we've been making steady progress and finally coming to the point where we share a vision. We're really close to having a final design and we're ready to get working. And in fact, with the American Rescue Plan Act, we as an assembly appropriated money for workforce development and job training because we recognized that this time was going to come. And so we're grateful to the Biden administration for its investment in our workforce and in our community, and we are ready to go to work as soon as we have the resources. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thanks, Andrew. Same here.
Yep. And I'll follow through.
Yeah, we'll follow
those other
up on
issues.
all this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.